out, but insists on policy abandonment. Details in a moment. Let's bring you the news summaries.
Thank you very much, Martin. A very Merry Christmas to all our viewers and listeners tonight. We begin with the Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection, Agnes Namo-Molatey. She is urging victims of abuse, especially young men, to speak up to help authorities pursue justice. Now, her call follows 3FM's documentary, When Boys Cry, which highlights cases of sexual abuse involving men and boys and the lasting impact on survivors. She reiterated her ministry's commitment to creating a safe and supportive environment for all genders, stressing that abuse affects everyone and must be addressed without stigma. The Western Regional Minister, Joseph Nelson, has called for a permanent and strengthening presence of the Minerals Commission within the Nzema East Municipality. This, he believes, will enhance their oversight and ensure regulated mining activities across the three Nzema municipalities and neighboring areas. His appeal comes in the wake of an anti-illegal mining operation conducted along the Ankobra River on December 24, led by the Western Regional National Security Liaison Officer, Brigadier General Musa Waja, retired. The task force arrested 2 Chinese nationals and recovered 5 excavators. To prevent foodborne illnesses that could dampen your celebrations, the government and Hospital Pharmacists Association, GOSPA, has urged everyone to observe proper food safety practices. The association urged the public to wash their hands thoroughly with soap and clean water before preparing, serving, or eating food. Hand washing remains one of the most effective ways to prevent the spread of infections and disease in this festive season. They also recommend that the public always should check the expiry dates on canned foods, beverages, and other packaged products before purchases and consumption. And we end with some politics, because some members of the New Patriotic Party, NPP, have advised the party's flag bearer hopeful, Kennedy Ohene-Japong, to exercise restraint and decorum as he engages delegates in the Ashanti region. Speaking to the media ahead of the party's presidential primary, a group of NPP communicators said the party must critically assess the factors that contributed to its defeat in the 2024 general elections and take deliberate steps to correct them. These are all on our website, 3news.com. Martin, over to you.
Thank you very much. And now we can settle for the details of the stories. Now we're starting from the political front, and we'll all know that by the 1st of February, we'll get to know who will be leading the NPP. That's February 2026, because on the 31st of January 2026, the New Patriotic Party will be going to the polls internally to select or elect their leaders. And ahead of that, the minority leader in Parliament, Alexander Afenyo Markin, is warning against division and disunity in the New Patriotic Party ahead of the party's flag bearer race on January 31, 2026. And he's also urging members to treat one another with utmost respect and decorum. In a Christmas message centered on the party's electoral defeat and the lessons, he asked party members to prove critics wrong by proving that NPP is bound for victory in 2028. His admonition comes as campaigning for the NPP flag bearership heats up amid mudslinging and throwing of pot shots at each other, especially by supporters of some of the key contenders. Let's listen into Alexander Afenyo Markin, who has been sending out a message to Ghanaians and by extension to party supporters regarding what they should be doing ahead of the election in January 2026.
As we prepare for our upcoming flag bearer primaries next year, let us treat one another and our cherished tradition as sacred. What our forebears put together through their sweat and blood, I dare say that let no party member put asunder. Let us not act in any way that will destroy the unity, credibility, and moral authority of our party. We are bound to have differences and disappointments. We are free to support those we believe can best lead us to victory in 2028. But let us not wash our dirty linen in public. Where our differences can be settled behind closed doors, let us settle them out of the public glare. Where they cannot, Let us agree to disagree for the sake of the mission ahead. We must also resolve that aggressions and ambitions of extremists amongst us are stopped early, decisively, and collectively before they threaten us all. Internal decay, not external opposition, is what destroys us most quickly. Let us not give up. However long it takes, the hour of victory will come. And that hour definitely shall be December 7th, 2028. Working for victory can be hard, yet the New Patriotic Party has accomplished hard tasks before. We did it in 2000, in 2004, 2016, and 2020. Campaign for flag bearer aspirants must be done with decorum, humility, and respect. Respect for one another and for our party. Let our conduct inspire confidence. Let the message offer hope. And let our unity signal readiness for power. There should be life after 31st January 2026. Let's reflect on this even during this Xmas. Fellow patriots, this party has risen before and it shall rise again. The elephant may stumble, but it never stays down forever. It never forgets its strength. 1 year down already, our friends. 1 year is gone, 3 more to go. And I see and sense victory ahead. May God bless you. God bless the New Patriotic Party. God bless our dedicated foot soldiers. May God bless our beloved country, Ghana. I wish all of you a Merry Christmas.
And that's the message from Minority Leader Alexander Afenyo Markin, clearly calling for internal introspection ahead of their 2026 January 31 election to elect a flag bearer. And clearly he has addressed a number of issues about the concerns that of mudslinging and name calling and accusations and counter accusations from the supporters mainly of the flag bearer aspirants within the party. Some of the aspirants themselves have also thrown some mud at each other. And clearly, if you've been following the news in the last few months, you can tell that it is really heating up within the rank and file of the New Patriotic Party. Meanwhile, former Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia remains the front runner in the New Patriotic Party's race for the 2026 elections for the NPP flag bearer slot. That's according to the latest Global Info Analytics delegates poll. The survey conducted between the 19th and 22nd of December 2025 sampled 3,521 NPP delegates nationwide with a 99% confidence level and a margin of error of plus or minus 2%. Under the likely vote model, Dr. Bawumia polled 45% ahead of former Asin Central MP Kennedy Ejapong, who polled 31%. Dr. Brian Echampong secured a third position with 20% of delegates, where delegates were either undecided or declined to disclose their preference. Among the committed voters, Dr. Bawumia's lead widened to 56% compared to 39% for Mr. Ken Ejapong. The polls also show Mr. Ejapong making notable gains in recent weeks, while the number of undecided delegates continues to decline, suggesting the contest is tightening ahead of the January 31 primaries. Regionally, Dr. Bawumia leads in most areas, particularly in the northern and upper east regions, while Ken Ejapong shows strength in parts of Ashanti, central and western north regions. Let's speak now to the Executive Director for Global Info Analytics, Musa Dankwa. Mr. Dankwa, very Merry Christmas to you. Thank you for joining us on 3FM.
Merry Christmas to you too, and thank you for having me.
Right. Clearly, you have been busy, whereas many are looking forward to the Christmas festivities. Looks like Global Info Analytics and your honorable self have been very busy keeping your eye on the ball, especially for the New Patriotic Party. What key findings or factors would you say is sustaining Dr. Bawumia's lead in the build-up to January 31?
Right. Thank you very much. Let's take it from this angle. He's been the vice president for 8 years. He's been their candidate in the last election. He appears to be a known figure. And traditionally, NPP appear to support the assertion that if you bring somebody twice, it helps to win the election. So you could see that people are rooting for him because they think he's been well marketed and that they stand a better chance if they present him again.
Right. So that is more like a general knowledge based on the kind of experience we have had in our election cycles in Ghana, right?
Yes, and also based on the question we posed them, whether they support or the assertion that if the candidate is given a second chance, they tend to do better. Half of them said yes. And about, I think, 27 or so said no, and 37 or so were neutral. So you could see that majority of people believe that yes, second chance helps, but there were neutrals who are also very important not to discount.
But his lead has... Okay, so based on what you have found out, has the lead he has enjoyed right from the onset when he declared his intention and all aspirants were cleared, has that lead been maintained, increased, or decreased? And we know that his keenest competitor is Kenny Japong. But before we come and talk about him, is Dr. Bawumia's lead still as much as it was right from the onset?
No. The first poll he conducted among delegates, he was on 52%. Then he declined to around 49%, it dropped 47%, 45%. He even went to 43%. So he's now beginning to go up again from his lowest point of 43%. So he's been up before, but now he has declined to 45 based on the recent poll. But now 45 is not his lowest. His lowest was 43% in the last month poll.
Right. And is this something he is doing or not doing, or is a strategy for Dr. Bawumia that he's been able to, beyond the perception people have, is Dr. Bawumia doing anything else to sustain this lead, you think?
I've not been following his campaign closely, but I know his opponents are trying to dig hole in the argument that he's been putting forward, in the sense that they have been able to say that he didn't do well in the last election and that they should be given another chance instead of him. They should give him a chance rather than Bawumia. And people tend to look at the performance of Bawumia last time, and that has been a drag on him as well. You can't take your eye off the fact that he performed woefully last time. And there are those who believe that that performance should not warrant repeating the candidate.
And the next in line, I mean, based on the pecking order, is Kennedy Japong. And your poll says that he has increased in terms of likability, and then also the delegates believing that or gradually some are changing their minds to support him. What is doing the magic for him? Many thought he probably should have actually been the lead.
You know, the reality is that delegates of NPP are very conservative, and they seem to like steady ships, and they are very less likely to take risks because of their age profile. For that matter, Kennedy is able to attract the younger delegates. If you look at the poll we just released, he's leading among the younger delegates by quite a lot. But as the population gets older, he begins to dwindle. So the problem has been the delegate structure itself and who they are and whether they want to take risks. And the problem is that he's not able to cut through that argument.
So if he's able to work on that and probably things, by some dint of faith, things skew in his favor, is he likely to increase the pressure on Dr. Bawumia, you believe?
Certainly the pressure on Bawumia will increase. Kennedy is 31% now, and Bawumia 45%. That is about 14% gap. The gap was about 25% before, so Kennedy has cut through the gap to about 14%. Now, for Bawumia, he needs to keep his head down, focus on his campaign, and where he is, probably about 45%, 5% more before he can cross the line. He may want to win big, but I don't think that big winning will come because this time around it's a tough competition. His performance last time is dragging him down. Brian Champon has come in to chip away some votes, so we don't expect him to see a race similar to last year. This may be a different race, which he has to fight.
20% of those you sampled said they were undecided. Like you indicated, NPP delegates are quite conservative. With this significant percentage of 20, if they swing either way or they split in between, who is likely to benefit?
Now, you have to look at the views of those who say they are undecided and what were their responses to the question that if you repeat the candidate, they tend to win. When you look at that critically, from what I've seen, those people appear to lean more Bawumia than Kennedy, if you do that analysis. But those who say they will not disclose, they appear to be more leaning towards Kennedy. So, and remember what Bawumia is. He needs just 5% from the lot to cross. So he's much more realistic to the finish line than Kennedy. Kennedy needs to run the table from both undisclosed and undecided for him to win.
Right. I get the picture you're painting here. And maybe in conclusion, we know that there are regional support for some of these candidates as well. And you indicate that the northern and upper east region naturally have just tilted towards Dr. Bawumia. Their stronghold, the Ashanti region, also has a candidate, that's the former education minister, Dr. Asiedu-Dartey, in the race. From the look of things and your following of the data that you are getting, could the Ashanti region be the deciding region? Because also of their numbers, could they as a region tilt or swing how the leadership of the party is arrived at?
I mean, certainly, I believe that Ashanti region will be critical, very critical to this election. Whoever is able to win Ashanti region will win the race one touch. If you look at the poll we just released, Kennedy made a huge gain because he made a huge recovery in Ashanti region. If he's able to maintain that lead and even win Ashanti region, then it could be a very difficult night for Bawumia. But at the moment, Bawumia is still leading, and I think he has the chance of winning it, but it may not be as big as last time. Fingers crossed. Also, if you look at Ashanti region, Edichum is doing about 6%. So if Edichum does 6%, whose vote is he taking? Is it Kennedy or Bawumia? We're yet to see.
Right. Okay. Mr. Dankwa, when should we expect the next poll? Because we have less than or just about a month to go. When should we expect the poll that would now be the one we are going to be, more or less matching with the final outcome of the election?
That will be on 24th of January. And then within that week, we will release our predictions for what would happen in the actual election. Right.
Okay. That will be very good. We are looking forward to it. And thank you very much for speaking to us this evening.
My pleasure.
And you heard Musa Dankwa, who's the executive director for the Global Info Analytics. They have just, they have actually been following the New Patriotic Party's election strategy, election campaigns, a flag bearer slot. And from all indications, it looks as though they are likely to give us, like he indicated, a very last minute polling on the 24th of January 2026, which would mean about a week to the delegates going to decide who should lead the New Patriotic Party. And trust your election command center to give you the updates and keep you in the conversation as we build up to the coverage of that all-important race for who leads the New Patriotic Party into the 2028 general elections. They will be very feisty. And another interesting point to note is that in 2028, the NDC is likely to present a new candidate, and that new candidate will be going against Dr. Bawumia or probably Kennedy Japong, depending on who the NPP puts forward. If it is a new person and not Dr. Bawumia, that will be two new faces on the ballot for both parties. But if the NPP retain Dr. Bawumia and he contests, then it means that he'll be facing a new candidate who now would have to campaign on the deeds and the performance of the NDC, the current administration. So a lot of dynamics and issues to look at while we build up to that election later, a few years to come. But for now, though, your election command center will keep you in the loop as and when we get further and better particulars of information. This is Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. It is live from our studio here at Adesawe Kanda in Accra. It's the Christmas Day edition. How are you celebrating the Christmas? Do send us a message and let us know how it's going for you and even what you make of the stories that we are treating this evening, including the one we just ended having to do with who leads the new patriotic party. In more news this evening, the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, is proposing a 3-month extension of Ghana's extended credit facility program to allow additional time for reforms required to complete the 6th and final program review. According to the fund, the proposed extension is necessary to support the implementation of policy measures underpinning the final review of the program. This was disclosed in the IMF staff report, which was released after the fund's executive board approved Ghana's 5th program review. If accepted, the proposal will extend Ghana's ECF program, which was scheduled to end in May 2026 and now is likely to be extended to August 2026. In the report, the IMF noted that the extension through August 16, 2026 would help reach an understanding on the policies supporting completion of the 6th review while allowing sufficient time to prepare and circulate board documents. Ghana's 36-month ECF arrangement was proposed by the IMF's executive board in May 2023, with access amounting to 303.8% of quota, equivalent to some $3 billion. So far, Ghana has secured about $2.8 billion following the successful completion of the 5th program review. Now let's bring in economist Professor Patrick Isuming. He has joined us on the line for this conversation. Prof, a very good evening to you. Merry Christmas and thank you for your time.
Good evening. Merry Christmas to you also, and good evening to listeners.
Right. For the very lay person, what is your understanding of what the IMF is proposing? Ordinarily, we would have thought that it is the country that would have said that maybe based on how we've worked with the IMF, give us some extension. But it looks as though it is the reverse. It's the IMF rather proposing an extension. What does this mean?
Well, I think when you read the document, that specific point about the extension is only a 3-month extension. And the reason for the extension is essentially there are some reforms that the government agreed to implement under the IMF program. Some of the reforms have been pushed back. Some of the reforms have seen significant delays. So when you read the document, there will be cases where they will tell you certain structural benchmarks, structural measures have not been implemented or they've been implemented with delays. Indeed, if you look at the 5th review, some of the things that we were supposed to implement, we couldn't implement, or they were implemented with delays. So my reading of what the IMF is proposing is that given these extensions, now, even though the cutoff date was May 16th, it's likely that some of the things that have been delayed may not have been completed. So it's important that before the final review, the 6th and final review is submitted to the IMF board, the sufficient time is given. If you recall how the reviews have been done, the staff will come do the discussions with the government, and then they will come to an agreement. But certain things will be, the agreement won't go to the board until a few things have been concluded. That's always been the case. So I think what they are suggesting is that given that a few things have delayed, this extension is necessary so that some of the reforms that have delayed, there will be sufficient time between whenever the staff comes to do the review and when documents are submitted to the board. So I don't think this is such a substantial extension as we are normally accustomed to.
Right. But does the report give any indication whether we are, in line with what is expected of us as a country, as an economy? Are we following and working in tandem with what the expectation of the IMF is? Is the current administration working in line with the government, with the IMF, I should say?
In the main, you say yes. I think in the main, when you look at, what both the board and the staff say, they are saying that most of what we have done is consistent with the program. They, for instance, talk about the fact that the 2026 budget that was presented is broadly in line with what the program seeks to achieve. And you see that in terms of the indicators, all the benchmarks were met for this, but the review that was just completed. And the indicative targets, almost all the targets have been met. I think where we have struggled with is the reforms, certain reforms that the IMF feels that it will help sustain the gains beyond the program. I think this is where there's been delays. And a few of them have seen delays. I think one of them that is specifically mentioned has to do with asset declaration and something that was supposed to be done, which was withdrawn at the last minute. So the reform, the program, the consolidation itself has been on track. But the fund feels that beyond the program, certain reforms to governance, especially fiscal governance, are needed to ensure that the program, after we exit the program, we don't return to our, so to speak, bad days. So I think that is where there's been challenges. And, it's not surprising. Those kind of reforms take time. You have to take things to Parliament. Parliament has to approve. And some of them require a lot more broader consultation. I think that is where there's been a little bit of a struggle.
Right.
So you see there are about 3 of those that were not implemented. And some of them are implemented with delays. But, in terms of the fiscal side, and then that one, we seem to be on track. I think it's also on the debt restructuring, there's a sense that there's a little bit of frustration with, where we are. The expectation is that by now we should have almost finished them, but we still haven't. And I think those are the elements where you get a sense that, things are a little bit, behind time.
Okay.
But generally, in terms of the indicators and the performance, the economy has performed ahead of the targets.
Right. So there really shouldn't be any form of concern for the everyday Ghanaian, right? Should there be anything to worry about, or the technical nature of these things can be managed, so we just need to go about our daily lives as we wait to see how, and maybe for clarity, who must agree to this extension? The government? And would that agreement need to go to Parliament? Well,
I think, the language that is written, it seems like clearly the fund that is proposing this. Ordinarily, if this had been agreed with the Ghanaian authorities, perhaps the language would have been different. So perhaps this is something that is being proposed that, perhaps the government is yet to come to an agreement with. Don't forget that the president has been absolutely adamant that the program will not be extended. But I think this is not extension in the sense of what we did in the previous program, where the government requested that we were just not meeting the target, and therefore some extension was needed. This is different. So, in terms of, is there something ordinary Ghanaians should be concerned about? Not in terms of the extension. What Ghanaians should be concerned about is that the reforms that we are doing, the legislation that we are passing, we are not passing them just to satisfy the IMF. And that, indeed, these are reforms that will improve our own governance structures, and that Ghanaians themselves will take ownership, so that, when we exit the IMF program, we don't go back on the standing basis that we have done in the past. That's taking us back to the IMF. I think that is what Ghanaians should be watchful of. What our government will do when we are not in the IMF program.
Right.
Therefore, without the reforms. Because as for the implementation of these reforms, we have passed laws that we don't plan to implement before, just so that we can exit the IMF. So I think for ordinary Ghanaians, what we should be concerned about is to be watchful that beyond the IMF, our government is communicating a clear strategy that will convince us that this time we are going to do things as we should, so that we don't return to the IMF.
Okay. Prof, we would have to leave it here for now. Certainly, in the coming days, we'll get to see how the agreement goes and whether Ghana would agree to extend. Thank you for speaking to us this evening.
You're welcome.
Professor Patrick Esuming is an economist and helping us better understand this proposal by the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, asking that Ghana extends the Extended Credit Facility, the ECF, part of the program for some 3 months. And based on the understanding I'm getting from Professor Patrick Esuming, it means that the IMF wants Ghana to fine-tune and dot every I, cross every T to ensure that when we do exit the IMF bailout program that we are currently on, it will make it more difficult for the country to return for a bailout, or it will even be steeper if we even consider that as a country we are, if there are any challenges that we are going through based on how leadership or whichever government is in power, they can better manage the economy so we do not have to return for any kind of bailout. So we'll see what the government's position on this will be. It's a suggestion, it's a proposal from the IMF. Would government agree, and if it does, what does that mean? Clearly, from all indications, it is to benefit the country so we do not return. We'll see. We'll definitely be following it and then update you as and when we get further information regarding this IMF program that we're on as a country. In more news this evening, members of the Vehicle Emborsment Association of Ghana, VEMAG, have welcomed the suspension of the rollout of the new vehicle number plates, which was originally scheduled to begin in January 2026. The Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority, that's the DVLA, on Wednesday announced that the rollout of the chip-embedded registration plate has been put on hold due to unresolved legal requirements. The new plates are intended to incorporate modern technology to improve vehicle traceability and enhance road safety. However, the process has stalled because amendments to the Road Traffic Regulation 2012, known as the LI 2180, which governs the content and format of number plates, were not passed before Parliament went on recess. According to the Chief Executive Officer of the DVLA, Julius Nikwe-Kote, although Parliament amended the Road Traffic Act 2004, the specific legislative instrument required to support the new plates could not be approved before lawmakers adjourned on the 19th of December 2025.
Julius Nikwe-Kote, CEO of DVLA, I have not cancelled due to the fact that the LI 2180 amendments have not gone through. The Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority, DVLA, announces to the general public the suspension of the impending rollout of new license plates slated for 2nd January 2026. We have given extension to all DP stickers to operate, so we come back with other announcements. The same applies to DV, that is a defective vehicle plate to also be used. Then, any company or individual who wishes to register can also do so in 2026. Just that you must be mindful of the fact that when the new ones are being rolled out, you'll be compelled to change and pay again. That is it.
He also explained that until the necessary legal framework is fully addressed, the authority cannot proceed with the rollout. Consequently, the DVLA has extended the use of vehicles currently operating with departures from port, or the DP, or the stickers, as well as the DV plates, until further notice. Meanwhile, the Vehicle Enforcement Association of Ghana has filed an injunction at the High Court in Accra seeking to restrain the DVLA from rolling out a digital or any new vehicle number plate registration system. Despite the legal action, the DVLA insists it is acting within its mandate and in the interest of road safety and efficiency.
Julius Nikwekote, CEO of DVLA, I have not cancelled or signed any new contract with regards to the new number plates. These Vermont people came to me that they were working with the authority and then they want to be part of it. And I said, oh, that's no problem. You guys went into tender with a gentleman who operates a company called Omel. So he's part of you. You went to the same tender with him. If he's won the contract and you want to do it, better go and meet him and then do what? Have a discussion with him. So you're surprised. The one who won the contract is saying that he is willing to welcome the people coming to do the RFID. And those who never won the contract have rather gone to court. And we'll meet them in court.
Well, so those who have gone to court, we have a member of the association, that's the VEMAG, joining us. Jojo Bruce Kwanzaa is a member. Mr. Kwanzaa, good evening. Thank you for your time. Merry Christmas to you.
Good evening and Merry Christmas to you and all your listeners.
Right. What are the key concerns you have with the proposal of a new registration number plate that the DVLA intended to roll out? What are the concerns that you think have not been addressed and that you disagree with this new rollout?
We don't have any concerns with the new vehicle number plates coming out. In fact, we have told the DVLA that we embrace the new system because times are changing and we must also change. Our concern is that Denmark has not bidded for any contract. We have been in the business with DVLA for many years. The guy who bidded for the contract, he's one of the people Kote described as DVLA mafias who owe 150 companies. And you describe the man as a very corrupt person. Now you want to do business with him. Denmark, we don't have any business with a manufacturer. Our business is to emboss the chip embedded plates. It is not Denmark who must plant the chip in the plate. It is the manufacturer. And the manufacturer is the guy working with the DVLA. After they have finished their work, we do the embossment. So you cannot blame us for not being able to implant the chip in the normal plate. It is not our business. Our business is to emboss. Okay. We are not manufacturers.
Okay, but generally, what do you make of the suspension intended to roll out on the 2nd of January 2026? Now we are told there's a suspension. What's your association's position on it?
We welcome the suspension because, one, we sent a petition to the Transport Committee of Parliament, and we believe that they are looking into our petition, and when they come back from recess, they will work on it. Apart from that, we also believe that DVLA suspended this thing just because it will be a contempt of court if they go ahead with the January 2nd re-registration and distribution of normal plates. In any case, under normal circumstances, we would have finished embossing normal plates for 2026 by now. But because of this refusal to consult with us and all that, Mr. Kote doesn't even see us as any partners or stakeholders. He doesn't even want to see our face. He is always meeting these embossers, who he described as the DVLA mafia. He's always meeting them and referring to them as embossers. They are not embossers. They are manufacturers. We have two different people working with the DVLA. We have manufacturers and embossers. You see, so when you meet manufacturers and you talk to them, it does not mean you are talking to embossers. Right.
Okay. And maybe for purposes of education, what do the embossers do and what do the manufacturers do? What exactly do they do in the value chain?
You see, under DVLA practice, these two people, the manufacturer brings in the aluminum plate and the white reflective known as scotch. Okay. So the manufacturer, he brings in these two things. And then the embosser has been made by the DVLA. The embossers have been compelled by the DVLA to buy a specific machine, which we use in embossing these normal plates. You see, so the difference is that the manufacturer brings in the raw material and the embosser uses the raw materials to produce the final product, which is the normal plate.
Okay. Right. And if there is a rollout with what government is describing as chip embedded rollout, that means that it's a bit more advanced in terms of the new plates and your systems are not even ready or calibrated to be able to produce this. Is that also one of the concerns you have?
My brother, the thing is that since April, when Kote announced this thing, we have been trying, Vermac has been trying to meet him because, you see, the old machines we are having, it was the DVLA that gave us the specification. If you buy any machine apart from the specification they give you, they will reject it. So if the DVLA is coming out with a new product, it is up to the DVLA to tell Vermac, this is the machine we want. But you go ahead and tell the manufacturer the machines you want. And then the manufacturer, despite the practice that the manufacturer cannot emboss normal plates, you give him the specification, and then he goes and buys the machine. And now you want to tell Vermac, who you have been working with for all these years, that they are not prepared. We are capable.
Oh.
We are capable. Look, these machines, we don't ship them, we fly them.
Okay.
And currently it's between 70,000, it's between 45,000 and 70,000 euros. And we are capable of bringing this thing. We fly them in. And within 1 week, the machines are ready to go. So what is Kote saying? That you haven't met with Vermac to even tell them the kind of machines we have to buy. You tell the manufacturer, who is not an embosser, you tell him the type of machine he should go and buy. And now you are telling the whole country that we are not capable. How? How can you determine that if we are able to buy machines to do the normal place for you all these years? What shows that we cannot buy the same, the new machines? Right. We have agents.
Okay.
You understand?
Yes.
And one thing that I want to make clear, you see, every government project that is coming out new, there is always a pilot program. If you take the Ghana card, for example, there was a pilot program. The health insurance thing,
yes,
there was a pilot program.
Yes.
Now, you want to start a new program, and you want to start it one day all over the country. How do you correct your mistakes?
Right.
You can't correct your mistakes. That is why we are saying that, look, let's use the first, you see, usually January to June, the system is very tense and very busy. From June, July, the number of cars to be registered are not as many as in January.
Right.
So from June, July, we can start the new one.
Okay.
And then start them in a few places so that we can correct the mistakes. You understand me?
Yes, I
But
do.
you cannot start a new thing all over the country.
Right.
Meanwhile, we have 3,000 employees. You want to sack all of them. I don't think the president will even be happy with it.
Right.
3,000 employees.
So I
Asking
actually
them to go.
I actually do now have a better understanding of the concerns you are raising, that your jobs as embossers have first of all been handed to, or what you use, the machines you use and the specifications have been handed to the manufacturer to bring in, whereas you've done this for several years are being sidelined or have not been told what is expected or required for the new number plates we need from 2026.
Exactly, my brother.
Okay, and I'm sure that you've raised these issues with the DVLA boss in time past. What kind of response are you getting from him?
We sent a petition to the Minister for Transport. We didn't get an answer. We sent a petition to Kote himself, the DVLA boss. We didn't get an answer. You see, we had a press conference. We didn't get an answer. That is why we are now forced to go to court to seek an injunction.
Okay. So finally, if he does engage you, and now that the planned rollout has been suspended, what are you expecting within the period? Because they are saying that, well, you've sent him to court, or they've sent the DVLA to court, they will meet you in court. But let's say there is no court process and you want some mediation or agreement to be arrived at. What would your expectation be going into that meeting if the DVLA boss does call you for a conversation about this?
All we are saying is that don't let us rush this thing. Let's start it on a pilot program. And don't let us start this thing when the system is busy. When the system is busy, we are bound to make mistakes. So let's start maybe in the middle of the year, when things are cooled, since the tension has cooled down. Then we start. Then we can, DVLA itself can identify the mistakes that will come along, correct them, and then by 2027, we go all out.
Right.
You see?
Yes.
You see, he asked us to go to court. We didn't even have the intention of going to court. But you see, we were surprised when the DVLA boss told us on his Facebook page that Ramak, go to court. Why do you do that as a chief executive?
Right.
We were not interested. You see, all we were hoping, the reason why we sent petitions all over the place was for him to call us. Because if you call us and we sit down, we will judge you, and you as the chief executive, you come up with something. You see, this thing didn't start today. It started in 2021.
Okay.
And the DVLA was consulting us, were inviting us to meetings, discussing this same issue. But we didn't know that the current CEO will come and then brush the whole thing under the carpet and just decide to do business with the very people he said they are DVLA mafia and destroying the DVLA. How can you do that? You sit on national television, describe the man as DVLA mafia, who is destroying the DVLA. And then you turn around and you want to do business with the same person.
That's interesting.
Wow.
Okay. Mr. I am quite in tune or following exactly what the argument is and how you are positioning yourself. We definitely will try and get some more answers from the DVLA now that we have a better understanding and see why they want to sideline an institution or a group of people who've done this for several years going into the new year. We'll definitely talk to you again in the coming days to see how all of this is playing out. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.
And
Merry Christmas again.
Yes, and to you as well. You had Jojo Bruce Kwanzaa, who is a member of VEMAG. VEMAG is the Vehicle Embossment Association of Ghana, and their concern is pretty simple, following the understanding he has given me that something they've done for several years, a new administration comes in and wants to introduce new number plates, and they say, first of all, it is understandable that January, and many of us have observed it, that January through to June, there is pressure. People have brought in new cars and want to register them. So there is always pressure. So it is actually dangerous for the DVLA to roll out a new system when there is pressure. So their proposal is start that at the middle of the year when there is less pressure. You roll out a pilot, see what teething mistakes or challenges you might face, and then correct them so that early January 2027, you can actually go full force and roll out a new system and where everybody now will be aligned. But the DVLA also has alternative opinion to this, the proposal by VEMAG. And although it has gone to court, VEMAG took the issue to court. The rollout plan has been suspended. We do not know when next it will happen, but hopefully between now that the case is in court and a date for the final agreement, the cool heads will prevail. Then both sides can come to some understanding as to how the new number plates should be rolled out. I have seen some of the designs. They are nice. I think it is important that as a country we increase or change and modernize the kind of number plates we use. But the power lies with the DVLA and the key stakeholders within that sector. So we'll see what happens in the coming days, and trust us to keep you posted as and when these changes do come up. This is still Hot Edition 3FM 92.7. Let's shift our attention to some other stories. Now, you know, today is Christmas Day. The celebration of religious festivals in Ghana continues to bring people of diverse faith together in shared joy and fellowship. Over the years, this tradition has strengthened interfaith tolerance and camaraderie, contributing to the country's enduring peace and unity. This Christmas season is no exception as Noura Mohammed takes to the streets of Accra to explore how religious harmony remains a defining feature of Ghanaian society. And many of you who are already listening to us could also send us your thoughts on how all of this interfaith solidarity we have had with each other has helped in making Ghana a peace-loving country and a strong one at that.
During Islamic celebrations such as Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha, many Muslims in Ghana share the festivities with non-Muslim friends, neighbors, and even strangers. Food and meat are freely shared as communities come together to honor the occasion. Similarly, during Christmas and Easter, many Christians across the country open their homes and celebrations to Ghanaians of other faiths. This long-standing tradition has helped foster decades of interfaith unity, solidarity, and mutual respect, an example admired beyond Ghana's borders. Sheikh Armiya Shaibu, the official spokesperson for the National Chief Imam, weighs in.
During such a festivity, I do receive hampers and gifts from in fact, just about some 2 days ago, one of my very good working partner, we worked together on the religious plane. She brought me a hamper, and I received it. I have a good friend pastor with whom I share platform on every Thursday on the television, and every Christmas he gives me, and just like I also give him in Eid al-Adha and I share with him. This is symbolically to indicate that we are not enemies, and that within a spirit of interfaith harmony and unity as a nation, we can build on our common values and our common humanity and build a nation that is characterized by peace, love, and unity.
In Nima, a predominantly Muslim community in Accra, we spoke with residents and traders about how Christmas is observed in the area. Dr. Kasim Abdullahi, a Muslim lecturer at the University of Cape Coast, says his Christian friends celebrate Christmas with him every year.
This is a blessing that Ghana has. If there is one thing that we all have to cherish and safeguard, it is the peace that we enjoy as Muslims, Christian, and even people of other faiths. We believe this is the best treasure. Even when you look at the continent, there is no place like Ghana. Everybody thinks what Ghana is doing is the best. And the only thing that is keeping us united is the understanding that we have. I have lots of, Christian friends, in fact, right from school days till now. And during this time, they share what they have with us. We also share with them. We enjoy the food that they cook. They share with us.
For these traders at Nima, the Christmas season is celebrated by Christian and non-Christian traders alike.
Yes, some Muslims celebrate the Christmas, not all. We help them to enjoy their moment. It promotes unity a lot. We all come together. We are like a family.
The Muslims are a majority here, but during Christmas, the market is quite empty. It's a good thing that we have peace and tolerance of one another. They give us lots of food and meat during the Eid, just like we do during Christmas. Many Ghanaians, regardless of religion, celebrate religious festivities, be it Eid or Christmas. And this sort of unity is to the envy of many across the globe. And each year, this unity keeps strengthening. Noura Mohammed for TV3 News, Accra.
And it's an absolute truth that when Christmas is here, everybody, including our Muslim brothers and sisters, enjoy. And when we are celebrating Eid as well, we are all in the fray and we all enjoy as well. So this religious tolerance is what many leaders of the country have been preaching and praying that we are able to sustain, to ensure that we can grow stronger as a country and become the envy of many other countries that are struggling to coexist with diverse religious groupings. So on the back of that, we want to say thank you very much for listening to 3FM 92.7. This has been Hot Edition. It's been live from our studio here at Adisanwe Kanda in Accra. If you go to our website 3news.com, you get many more stories that are making headlines in Ghana. I am Martin Asiedu-Dartey. Thank you very much for listening. And again, a very Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year to you. Bye for now.